was MSN born, raised? Who did you grow up with? The siblings in the home. Paint
Mhm.
the beautiful picture for us.
Okay, so it started back in 1920. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
Ah, what? 1920? You threw a loop there. Wait, hold on now, Mister.
So no, I was born and raised in upper state New York near Schenectady. I had one younger sibling, 10 months younger than I am. And my parents got divorced, and that was before, divorce was kind of a thing.
Right.
And also, kind of incidentally, at the same time, um, they said, "Oh, well, you have a learning disability, dyslexia," which they didn't know, they didn't have a name for it, back
Right.
then, right? So yeah, so you compound those two things, and um, working through the separation and the divorce, and then my dad's job moved him to Maryland, and then to Texas, and so forth. So I didn't, I was basically what they call a latchkey child. Um, so at the age of 10, you're doing your own laundry and cooking steakums, for dinner. So,
So
um,
let's back up a little bit. Let's.
mhm.
Now you mentioned marriage. Were you referring to your parents?
I'm sorry, say that again. I apologize.
You mentioned marriage. Were you referring to your parents?
Yes,
Okay, so they are you saying that when you were younger they got divorced?
correct.
Okay. How old were you when the divorce happened?
Let's see, probably 8 or 9 when they separated, and then, obviously a couple years later, the divorce.
And how did that make you feel?
Well, honestly, I felt like, at that time, you can't really trust anybody. You have to be independent and do things on your own, because, you obviously can't trust, your partner, to always be there. Yeah, yeah. Looking back, right? Hmm.
So when they separated, did they still live together or did your dad have to move out?
No, no, he ended up getting an apartment, and then his job ended up moving him out of state. Hmm.
Got you. So did you grow up without your dad being around for the majority?
No, actually, my brother and I went with my dad because we knew that he financially, was, obviously had job and that. So that's basically why we chose to be with my dad. So,
Wait, y'all chose? Y'all had an
hmm,
option.
yeah, yeah.
Your who gave you the option, your mom?
No, I mean, it was, I don't remember how the conversation went down, but we were given the option. Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of people don't get that option. So
Right. Right.
yeah. So you guys decided, hey, we're gonna go with dad, and mom stayed, and you
Right.
guys was to you was that like a great decision? When you look back at it now, was that a great decision that you made?
Well, I think it was the best decision. Um, Obviously, to be without both parents, close by, was obviously not probably, an ideal situation. So that was, obviously a drawback.
Got you. So take us to how it was for you in school. Okay, because now you're living with your dad now. Your dad's taking care of you. He's the breadwinner in the family.
Right.
Now, was he the breadwinner? Did you guys have like the
Yeah.
I don't want to call it the finer things, but did you guys ever feel like, okay, we were poor or maybe we were wealthy? Was there ever any thought when you think back? You know,
No, no, that to me didn't really change, because, we had, decent housing and clothes and food. So that was not, in my mind, was not an issue. Yeah. Yeah.
what about in school? Like when you started?
School was a, oh man, I remember thinking because of dyslexia and they didn't know what it was, I would have to go to special ed classes. And
Mm,
some of the teachers, I recall, made me feel stupid, made me feel stupid.
right.
And I didn't like it. You know, I would do, how you had to do book reports, right? And I would come back, and look at the book report and there would just be all these red marks that looked like Ted Bundy got a hold of it. And even to this day, when people critique my writing in that, I freaking want to strangle them. I really do. It's irritating, honestly.
No, I definitely get it. She said it looked like Ted Bundy had a hold of it. I
Yeah,
right. I actually like book reports. I'm not gonna lie. I did like writing at one point in time in my life. I really did love
yeah,
a job that required me to write, but I
gotcha.
hated it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So
uh,
so that will change your mind real quick. So
right.
so
Yeah.
now, boom, you're in school. That
Mhm.
you had a hard time because, especially I could think of like, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
Over 40.
Oh, okay, so just to get an idea, and I know like back then they didn't know what dyslexia. They wasn't
Yeah,
really
yeah,
diagnosed.
they right.
You know,
So, we're talking like the 80s, very
right?
early 80s. Yeah, yeah.
So you're in there. You're not too happy with like what the teachers are doing. What about friends? How easy were you? A people person? Was you an introvert, extrovert?
I think I'm kind of a combination of I'm really neither, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe lean more towards introvert,
Okay.
but you know, um, school, I didn't so much mind school because the way I thought of it was is I was there to learn because it was a means to an end.
Right.
And during high school, my whole thing was okay. What am I going to do? I know I'm going to do some kind of nursing, but how do I get to that point? So I was one of the fortunate people that I knew before I graduated from high school that I wanted to get into nursing, was just a question of what path.
Right. So
Yeah.
so now in school, right?
Hmm.
Did
Hmm.
you? What was some of your challenges? What was some of your challenges in elementary school?
Let's see. Well, I was going to definitely say the reading, more so the writing. And I was a little person, although interestingly enough, they didn't pick on me too much. Um, and basically just hunkering down and doing the work. And thank God for my memory,
Mhm.
because I had a memory. So, they would do the lectures, and I'd have to, because I freaking hated writing stuff down. So I would
Right.
force
You.
myself to memorize it.
I like
Yeah.
that. So now you're in school. What did
Mhm.
you was it easy for you to make friends? Do you remember your first friend you met?
Yeah, and actually one of the friends from junior high and high school I still contact, I'm still in contact with. There was so many cliques in junior high and high school. I was not like a nerd, but I wasn't popular and I wasn't a athletic person. I mean, I
Hmm.
am an athletic person, but because it was such a small school, they didn't have some of the things that I was decent at. Um, So I was kind of in the middle. I had
Okay.
friends. I didn't have a lot of friends, but still went out to some of the parties and stuff like that. So,
You mentioned your height several
hmm
times. I know how tall you are, but for the people that don't, can you let them know how tall you are?
yeah, about 4'8".
Oh, correction, how short you are. So, MSN, you're about 4'8", this little tiny child in school. Um, did you always, and this is what I want to know, like, did people always feel like you were way younger than what you are?
um, hmm. I don't know if they necessarily thought I was younger. But I know, like, out of high school, maybe towards the last part of high school and in my early 20s, they certainly did.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
So now, so now you're in. Do you? Is there any? What is your like a pivotal moment that you remember in elementary school? Whether it be like you hooking up or having a first crush, or a fight, or maybe someone taking something from you. Was there any significant moment that you remember?
Well, interestingly enough, there was a couple, and there was this. I was in PE class, and this much bigger gal, heavy set, took my jacket. Just I don't even know why she did it, but anyway, I said, hey, so she's walking out of the gym, and you had to walk quite a bit to get back to the junior high school. And I'd asked her repeatedly, hey, give me my jacket back. And so she just threw my jacket on the ground, which is fine. I picked it up. And then a few minutes later, she tried to like strangle me. Yeah, 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 yeah. And so what was funny about it, not funny, haha, funny. So the other girls got her off of me, and she went and told the principal that I tried to beat her up. So
Uh,
I actually took some heat for that when I didn't even do anything wrong.
and how did that make you feel?
Honestly, I knew what happened. I was like, whatever. I didn't get suspended or anything like
Right.
that. It was just ridiculous, I thought. Just completely ridiculous, you know?
So did did things like that happen often in school, or was that like a one time thing?
No, that was just a really bizarre one off. There was one other incident where a gal who actually wasn't much bigger than I am, she was getting smart with me or something, and I pushed her up against the trophy case and I said, knock it off. Don't you have better things to do? And the gym teacher just happened to be right like behind me, and he started laughing and he told Lisa, the girl that I put up against the trophy case, see, that's what you get. That's what you get. And that was the end of that.
And she never. So would you describe yourself? How would you describe yourself at that moment? Because I can imagine, and like you being this short girl, but it's like when you're short, like if you heard the Aqua story, people like try to size you up or pick on you and stuff like that. But it sounded like you were pretty tough, and you was like you didn't take
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, I really overly, I did not get picked on. I mean, those are like two incidences and was pretty much left alone, from that perspective,
Right.
they didn't bother me that way. Yeah.
Let's go to
So,
junior high school now. You're moving into your year of junior high school. What changed at home? What was the
well,
dynamic then at home first?
yeah. So then my dad, ended up getting remarried.
Hmm.
And so, obviously, that was a lot of, um, friction, if you will, between, well, I used to call her my step monster, but,
Ah!
um, we're good. I mean, we're good friends now, but back then we just, our communication styles were completely different. And, yeah, yeah. So,
Let me ask you this. Were you considered like a class clown, or or maybe not even a class clown, because maybe you didn't do it in class, but were you always this funny?
I think so. More so, I don't know if I was as a, junior high or high schooler, but definitely as time has gone on. Yeah. Yeah.
Got you, got you, got you. So during that time though, you called
Mhm.
her your step monster, right? So why though? Why did we call her step monster?
You know what? Because I think it was a combination of things, but I think the two pivotal things were, number one, um, my dad basically gave some of the reins over to her as far as, what we should and shouldn't be doing. And number two, our communication styles, you know.
What
So
was her communication style versus yours?
well, so if I had a question or I needed something, I would let you know. And I felt like there was a lot of at dinner time what I call the Spanish Inquisition, where you sit at the dinner table and they'd be okay, so what's going on? Da, da, da. And I don't communicate that way. You know what I mean? If I have something to say, I'm just not going to just say something just to be saying something. You know,
Right.
I'm there to eat in peace and not be, da, 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 you know.
Right.
So,
Can you give an example of something that happened where you had to, where you guys got into it?
oh yeah, 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 yeah. So, um, she was upset with me about something, and I can't remember what it was. And this was, I'm starting to think this might have been like my sophomore year in high school. But at any rate, uh, she was upset with me. And I said, listen, I said, if you think you have a problem with me, you need to go next door and you need to handle one of those kids next door. And then you come back to me and talk to me about you think you have problems here, you know, because I had a part-time job then, was doing decent in school, no drugs, nothing like that. And, yeah, so I was pretty freaking irritated. Let's just put it that way. Yeah.
But you said next door. Now, when you said next door, do you mean the other kids in the home, or do you
No,
mean?
other kids like literally across the street or next door, like my classmates, because they lived in the neighborhood. And so,
God?
yeah, that's what I was referring to. Yeah.
So what would be some of the things she would get mad at you about?
I vaguely remember just, do this, do that. I'm trying to think, role, and I can't really speak of a specific thing, but I think she wanted things done in a certain way at a certain time, I- you know, and I don't know that she felt like I was doing things like I was supposed to,
Right,
yeah, yeah.
right. So she had expectations of you, but her delivery. Would you say her delivery was just off?
Yeah. And I don't think she really understood the difference between what I was doing and other kids my age were doing. I just don't think she had any concept.
Right, right. Was there ever a moment where you felt like I can't do this?
No, no, because, I knew what I was going to do. And ultimately, she's my stepmom. She's not the boss of me. I have to tolerate her. But at the same time, I could go to dad and say, look, you know, this needs to stop. But it never really got to that point.
Or
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. What about your brother?
So Chris is, yeah. So he ended up going back to live with my mom shortly after Bonnie, my stepmonster, and dad got together.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now,
So
why?
well, I just think because he just didn't like the situation, and he
He
didn't like,
considered her as well.
yeah, he like for example, you're not going to tell me what clothes to wear. I'm not wearing the tough skin jeans and this and that and the other, and
Oh, she was one of those. Like she wanted
uh-huh.
me. Like okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, ain't nobody gonna tell me what to wear. I went through that too. Like I made sure I kept clothes in my locker room. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, 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 yeah.
She tried it. She tried it. All right. So now that we got the gist of what was going on at home,
Mhm.
take us back to school because now you got this going on at home.
Right,
I would think some moments, there's some kids like myself, right, who are happier at school than at home.
right.
I know they felt the opposite. Did you feel more happier home or did you feel more happier when you were in school?
I would say equally, you know, because they were both a means to the end. This is part of the family. This is what you do. School means to an end. So I didn't, I didn't feel like
Yeah.
one was necessarily better than the other per
But did
se.
you know that? Did you have that concept back then as well?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Because hey, listen, at 18, I'm out of here.
Mm.
At 18, I'm going on to nursing. So that was kind of my mindset back then.
And you
Absolutely.
already had that plan. You knew you
Oh yeah.
wanted to be a nurse.
Oh
And
yeah.
your mind was set and you were on go mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I was, again, I was one of the lucky ones that I kind of knew, what I wanted to do. The question is okay, what path do I want to do? You know,
Even even with your struggle. Now, you mentioned them placing you in special ed.
sure.
Were you in special ed your entire high school and junior high school or
Most of junior high and most of high school. Not my senior year in high school. So,
did you get
um,
mainstream for some classes first before?
yeah, yes, yes, yes. And what I, go
Uh,
ahead.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So again, I was lucky. The one class that really fought me pretty hard was the English classes.
Mm.
The grammar and the sentence structure and the spelling. And so, and I'm obviously not, probably that's not my area of expertise. But interestingly enough, Roll, if you were to give me a paper, I could edit it, like nobody's business. But to write and edit my own, it's very difficult for me, with all that. So that was really the main thing. And so all through junior high, high school, I had to basically get up to snuff. And then even in college, I had to take some pre-college English classes. What I did, yeah, to kind of get, caught up, if you will. So that's how I basically,
Remedial,
yeah,
remedial.
yeah, kind of, yeah, yeah.
Okay, got you. So what about math?
Math, I was fine with math, although, obviously I do switch some numbers, but I got to algebra too. So, yeah, yeah. And
Got
did
you.
the geometry. Yeah.
What about relationships? And
Uh,
early as you can remember, when was your first crush?
well, so I had crushes in, I want to say towards the end of like elementary school and some in junior high, and some in high school. But, when you're that young, they don't really come to fruition, if you will, oh, this is my boyfriend, ooh, we're going to prom. Ooh, whatever.
So, but was there a particular guy that you had a crush on?
Yeah, definitely.
Tell,
Yeah.
tell us and tell us what happened. Like when you seen him, what was your thoughts and feelings?
So I really thought, oh, he is so cute. This would be in junior high. Oh,
Hmm.
he's really cute. I wonder if I could talk to him or if he'll notice me or whatever. And then in high school, it's like, wow, he's really handsome. And so, you do these things to kind of get their attention, you
Right.
know, hmm hmm whether it be in history class or PE
What
class
did
or whatever.
particular to get his attention?
Well, so, I'd offer help at, some of the homework or,
You
just try to stand out. Huh?
you was doing his homework?
Well, not totally, but I'd offer some help, like, oh, you sure that's the right answer? Think so.
Let me see.
It's
All
B,
right.
it's B.
Did you finally come out and say it? Did you finally come out and tell him?
No, you know what I did?
What?
I wrote a little note, one of those anonymous notes, and
Uh-huh.
then put it on his card.
Now,
Put it on his card.
did it go a little something like, I like you, do you like me? Shit. No. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes.
Totally, totally did.
And what did he say?
Well, unfortunately, he didn't have the same feelings for me, which, I mean, it happens,
Right.
rejection happens. And, it is what it is. I remember thinking, in high school, I would get some notes like that myself. And, sometimes, there's a mutual like, ooh, I like you, you like me, ooh, cool, but unfortunately, that doesn't always happen.
Right. So
But it's cute. I mean, it's cute. It's fun.
after he said no, did y'all continue to be cool and friends and stuff?
Yeah, yeah, no, I didn't like just, turn my back. Oh, fine, I'll just go elsewhere.
So what
Mm.
after him was there? Can you tell us about your first boyfriend?
Yeah, so my first boyfriend, my friend introduced me to him because her boyfriend and him were friends, and so that's how that got started. Yeah.
Got How old were you then, though?
Would have been like 20ish, 19, 20ish.
Oh, wait, your first boyfriend was at 19?
Yeah, because the other ones I didn't really, it was a little kiss here and there. I didn't really consider them, boyfriends, you
Okay,
know?
and that was the
Yeah.
most little kiss.
Yeah, right, right.
Okay,
Back in high school and junior high. Yeah. Yeah.
got So, have you ever cut school before?
No, now that I think about it, no.
Were you always a straight A student?
No, no.
So, tell me about the time where you began to not do good in school.
Well, I wouldn't say I didn't do good in school, but there were certain, again, the grammar and English class that I just didn't like, you know,
It's
yeah, yeah. And so there was some of those that would be, B's or whatever, C pluses, type of thing. So, but the other ones, I felt like they were easy. You throw them in history. Yeah.
Did you just say wait, Emerson? Did you just say you wasn't doing good? You was getting B's and C's? Oh no. Girl,
Listen, I wasn't allowed to fail class. Okay.
that's good.
Yeah. No,
But
no.
I get it. So you must be used to, and I'm glad you said that because that makes me think you are used to getting straight A's. You want perfect grades,
Well, I
just
wouldn't say
A.
perfect grades, but you had to pass. You had to make sure, you know, fa- failing was not an option.
An option. But
So
to you, a C and a B is failing.
no, not really failing. You're passing a class, but it's not an A, but you're
But
passing
you
a
want
class.
all A.
No, you know what? I don't even recall ever thinking I wanted all A's. I don't recall
Got-
thinking that. Yeah,
What was the lowest grade you ever got,
probably like a C minus.
and why?
I don't remember exactly why. It might have been a combination of me maybe not putting in enough work, and then B, maybe the teacher not teaching in a way that, I could learn to my potential. So I think it might have been a combination of things. Yeah.
Got you. Got you. Got you. So now let's go back up to your first boyfriend,
Hmm.
and you met through a mutual friend. Now, did you
Sure.
meet in school, or tell us the story from the beginning? Who was the
Yeah.
friend you met?
So, right. So I'm, 19 or 20, and my friend had an apartment, her and her boyfriend, and she had asked me to come over and meet him, and so that's where things started. Yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
And then you came over.
Right. Right.
Okay.
And I thought, well, he's attractive, maybe this might work, and so we would go out on dates and et cetera, et cetera. Hmm. Yeah,
Uh-uh.
no, no,
You gotta
we,
you gotta
we didn't,
uh,
we didn't make out on the first date.
yeah. Tell me what he said to you. We want you to paint the picture, go back in time, and tell us if you detail for detail on what happened. So we know you went there. When you got there, what was your thoughts on how he looked?
Well, I thought he was handsome,
Mm-hmm.
and he was very polite. And we were all just, it was kind of a relaxing atmosphere because we were all just kind of hanging out, watching TV and that kind of stuff, kind of the normal stuff. Definitely the dating was not like elaborate or anything like that. It wasn't, oh,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to go to this, this nice little exclusive restaurant or, and, nothing like that. I mean, you're 19 or 20. So, you know,
So
yeah,
so when you met at the house, because you were in the house first,
yeah.
conversation about? What did you guys talk about? Did he tell you you were pretty? What did he tell you that let you know he wanted to go on a date with you?
Well, I can't remember the conversations because it has been, just a few weeks since that, I was
Mhm.
19 or 20. But,
Just
uh, um, we decided, it was mutual and we exchanged phone numbers and that. And, so then just got to talking more, et cetera. But yeah, I felt like, yeah. And again, I can't remember exactly how the conversations, went. I do apologize.
call.
What's that?
Who made the first call?
I think he did, if my memory serves me correctly. Yeah, yeah, he called me.
When that phone rung and you looked and seen his name, what went on in your head?
Well, back then they didn't have that. You just picked up the phone, or somebody else picked up the phone. Um, but yeah,
Oh,
I was
yeah,
like,
that's right. Because it
yeah, yeah,
had
yeah. But
us.
but anyway, yeah. So I was like, oh, good. He called. This is an awesome, you know, first step. He called, and then we'll just see how things go from there. That was kind of, my feeling. Um,
Okay. So then you guys went on a date. What happened on during the date? How was he? What was
um, I think we as a group ended up meeting up again, my friend and her boyfriend, at a restaurant. And like I said, basically it'd be between little food places and her apartment and that kind of stuff. Uh, and then the what hit the fan. He ended up getting up back with his ex girlfriend. Hmm.
how did that make you feel?
Yeah, no, I was devastated. I mean, it's like, really? All this time he had this, this person in the back of his mind already. So, yeah, yeah.
Got you. And your friend, tell us a little bit more about why that person was your best friend. What was it about her that made you feel like, you know what, this person's a good friend?
We had worked together as I was getting my nursing stuff together at McDonald's. And so, we had a lot of time to talk, and she had two kids, and I don't know, there was just like that bond there, and I felt like, she had been through a lot, and I felt like, she was and is, because I still communicate with her, somebody that I could trust and confide in and understood me, and I understood her.
Hmm.
So, yeah, yeah.
What was the hardest thing you ever had to go through?
Oh, the divorce of my parents for sure. The separation divorce of my parents. Yeah, yeah.
Why was it so hard for you?
Number one, I was blindsided at the time, did not see it coming. Number two, you have the realization that this fairy tale life that you are given, death do you part, is
Mm,
gone.
right?
And then there's a stigma of being from a divorced family because again, back then that wasn't really a thing. So yeah, yeah.
Whew.
Hmm.
Trust me, I can feel that. So now you're in college, and
Hmm.
you already had in your mind you wanted to go to college, and
Right,
you wanted to become a nurse.
right.
How was the transition from high school to college for you?
So what I ended up doing was I went to a trade school and got my licensed practical nursing, or other states it's LVN.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was getting my LVN, I got my nurse aid certificate. And then after I got my LPN, I did what they call prerequisites to get my associate's RN,
Mm-hmm.
bachelor's RN, and then master's RN. So, and the whole time working in the nursing field. Yeah.
How many years of college did you have to do to achieve all that?
Probably 7 or 8 with all the prerequisites and stuff. Yeah.
What is one of your most memorable moments?
Hmm. What's interesting, there's a couple. So when we have to do as nurses, we have to do clinicals. Okay. And that means, go to the hospital or wherever they put you. And so I had to go in and practice an assessment with one of my instructors. And she goes, well, what happens if you don't, you got the stethoscope on and you don't hear her heartbeat? And I said, turn the stethoscope bell around and listen again.
Mm,
She goes, okay, I was just checking. It was kind of funny. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's so many things that I recall, both good and bad. But yeah, it's really interesting because you never really know what the patient is perceiving of you, or things like that, or how you're going to handle a situation with a patient or family. And so yeah, so there's you really have to have a good sense of yourself.
got you.
Um,
Let me ask you this.
mhm.
What's your longest relationship?
5 years, about 5 years.
How old were you when
Let's see here. I would have been in my mid 30s.
okay. And how did you guys meet?
Oh, we met through work.
To work in the nursing field.
Yeah, he was a doc. Yeah.
He was a doctor?
Hmm.
MSN, go ahead. Was this your first real relationship as well? Like
I wouldn't say in a while. Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
when I gotta ask this question. When did you throw that ass in a circle? When was the first time?
You mean how old was
How old
I?
when you threw
Tw-
that ass?
uh, 21, 21.
21? Was this the
Mm-hmm.
first you met with your
The first, yeah, the first, yeah, yeah.
got you. How how did that moment happen?
So actually, at that time, we had gotten back together because he broke up with his other girlfriend. Anyway, and he was living with one of his friends, and so he had, we were back together. He had called me and say, "Hey, why don't you come on over?" You know, and so we did, and we were watching TV, and the moment was right, and so then we went to his room. I'll let y'all use your imagination for the rest of it.
What was your thought after?
My thought after was I thought I had made the right decision, and I was hoping that the relationship would grow even more. But unfortunately, it went sideways. So,
God. Do you feel like after that moment happened, he left or he stopped messing with you like that?
I want to say maybe like a month or two after that. Yeah. Yeah.
Got got you. Did you hook up with anybody in between those times, or like, or that was it?
No. 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 I was always a monogamous person and still am. And so I wasn't really interested in just messing around. I know some people when you're younger, you like to mess around, but I was busy working and going to school, so I wasn't really, up for the
Oh,
messing around. I was either with you or I wasn't, type of thing.
let
So,
me ask you, MSN, what is your type?
oh, my type now or my type back then?
Your type back then and then now. So
Okay.
first back.
I don't even know if I necessarily thought of a type back then. It was just that they were, you know, well put together and were working and were nice to me. Whereas now they have to be basically my equal. They have to be emotionally, financially supportive. They have to give something to the relationship. They have to bring something to the relationship. Be loyal, truthful. Yeah,
Right, right,
yeah.
right. So, and clearly this guy that you was with for 5 years, okay,
Hmm.
you were married to?
No, no, we were never married. No.
Oh, so this guy, clearly was he loyal?
Yeah, no, I don't believe he ever cheated on me, to my knowledge.
Okay.
You know.
What was the some of the greatest moments you remember? Can you share a story of like something great that happened in the relationship?
What was funny? So at work, you didn't always have a lot of time to eat, and I remember thinking one time, man, it would be so great to have a Wendy's chicken sandwich. And lo and behold, like a week later, he brought me in a Wendy's chicken sandwich.
Oh, you are so cute. You know I say that because it's like sometimes like with certain people it's like the smallest things. Like it didn't have to be something elaborate or big that he brought
No.
you. It was a chicken sandwich.
Yep.
That's beautiful. And in that moment when he got you that chicken sandwich, what went across your mind?
Ooh.
Amazing. So boom, he buys you this chicken sandwich.
Right.
Uh you're at ooh with him. Okay. What was like a moment where it was felt like downhill for you? You
You
ever
know
went
what?
rushing
Right.
moment?
What the issue with him was is um lack of commitment. Lack of really, okay, I want to be in this relationship. We're going to make this work, and I'm going to do the work, whatever I need to do to make this work. And then he ended up moving out of state, because that's where his career took him, and closer to his family.
Got you.
So, yeah.
Is that why y'all initially broke up?
Right, right. Yeah. So that's what was basically the end of beginning of the end, if you will. That was it.
Got you.
Yeah.
You ever thought that he should have moved there with him or
He never offered that to me. I might have considered it had I felt like, he was willing to take those extra steps. You know, I
got
might have considered that.
you. Got you. Tell me about a time you were heartbroken.
Well, that would have definitely, been a time when I was heartbroken, and of course, the divorce, that's definitely heartbreaking. Um, Loss of family members is devastating. Um, yeah, yeah.
Who did you lose?
Well, I've lost my grandparents. I've lost, both parents here within the last, well, since November. And so, yeah, yeah, definitely, keeps you humble and grounded.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just give her a moment. It looks like she's about to go out. Oh, you back. How'd you do
We back.
that?
Here we are. I don't know.
I'm about
Computer's got a mind of its own.
to, that is about to kick you. Okay, good, good, good. You're still here. All right, so let's jump forward. Okay,
Okay.
we're running out of time. There's so much I want to ask you. I'll be quite honest with you. I'm enjoying this too, getting to know you and stuff. But let me ask you this: like, in the stage that you're in now, what is your
Mhm.
main focus?
So my focus is now, and really has been for quite some time, is just to be the best person that I can and keep moving forward and keep learning and making sure that I stay adaptable, because if you're not adaptable, you're going to be in big trouble.
Facts. Let me ask you this: do you have any
Yeah.
kids?
No kids.
No kids. Did you ever want kids?
I did. I did. But I wanted to have kids with the right person. I was not going to be in a single parent family for that kid. I didn't want to do that. Yeah.
What is your biggest fear?
My biggest fear. Hmm. I don't know that I guess my biggest fear is when I die and I'm in heaven, that Jesus doesn't say, "Oh, hey, come here. What did you do?"
Wait, that he
oh, I think it froze. Hold on.
died.
Okay, there we go.
It,
Okay.
it cut me completely out.
That's
You
okay.
said your
Okay.
biggest fear is that Jesus don't say that. You want him to say, "Hey, what did you do?"
No, so when I die and I'm in heaven, right?
Right,
I want to be able to see Jesus, and I'm okay with repenting for all the stupidity I've done,
right,
So yeah, so I don't have a problem with him, basically calling me out, if you will.
right. Okay, okay, okay. Now you know you got to repent before you get up there.
No, well, I mean, the option, I mean, can you though? Can you live a sinless life up to the very end?
mm.
And I don't think you can. So I think, rather be in your thoughts or your deeds, I think, regardless, I'm still, if when I'm there and I'm before Jesus, um, I'm basically going to be, yep, I screwed up and I'm very sorry.
You got me, Jesus. You got me on
Yep,
this one.
my
You
bad,
ain't
my bad.
me. Got you, got you, got you. What is some what is what have your biggest life lesson taught you?
Never give up. Do not necessarily listen to other people when they say, oh, you're not smart enough or you can't do that. And stick up for yourself. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Sometimes you have to be the bad guy, and that's okay. Even if, people don't like it. Oh, well, you know.
Got you.
So,
I like that.
mm,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to exclusive interview. We are currently interviewing MSN. We are coming down to the last few minutes of it. So if you have any questions for MSN, please begin to line up in the box, or you can ask your questions in the comments. Okay? Remember to keep it to one or two minimum questions. This is my interview, not yours. Thank All right. So MSN, if you can have a conversation with the young MSN,
right.
what,
So if I could have a
with
conversation with
the
the youngest
old, the
MSN,
younger MSN, what would you say to the younger MSN?
right. So if I'm talking to the 20-year-old MSN now, I would say, do not be with any of the guys that you were with for the last, 20 years. Pick
But
other people.
let me ask you this: do you think would you have preferred to not never have any of those experiences?
I would have preferred, honestly, to have better learning experiences. I mean, I know, listen, when you screw up, it's a learning experience, but it's like, I don't know. Does it hinder you more than you learn? That's the $1 million question.
That is the $1 million question, but I'm still a true believer that those those lessons we need
Yeah,
because
and I certainly
you
can't argue that point. Yeah,
guess what? Who you are now, you would never make that mistake again. I'd rather make those mistakes while I'm young, get it out my
yeah,
system, so that
right.
way, the glow up is beautiful.
Yeah,
That learning experience is great too. Even though when you're
yeah,
going through it, it's not.
yeah,
Oh, it sucks.
yeah. You're like, really? Come on,
Yeah.
seriously?
I had some people in my life where I blocked it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
Some of
like,
them
what the heck was
still
I
got a block,
thinking?
but you remember, and when you see those signs, you're like,
Yeah, for
you
sure. Yeah. You don't realize how dumb you are when you're in your 20s until you get
Mhm.
to be over 40. And then you're like, oh, yeah. Yeah, that was.
Yeah. So although I couldn't stand when I was going through it, I appreciate those moments
Yeah.
still. You know,
Yeah.
um, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, I got 1,000 questions for you, and I know you have to go, guys. If you have questions, I'm gonna open it up for questions, and then I'll go back to asking my questions. Okay. So if you have any questions for MSN, please put them in the comments or hop in the box. Let me see if anyone's in the box. No. Okay. I'll give you a few seconds. Glad glad to cell phones to take pics back then for sure. Yeah,
So
it's a little
this
different, right?
is this is back in the
Listen,
20s, people. We're
'cause you
you
gotta
know it
have
was.
tons of pictures of that loser. You don't gotta worry about that. Nowadays you do.
Oh, you guys need to come to my topic Tuesdays on Tuesdays because we go over some crazy things like that. Like, why you be sending pictures to people you don't even know? What is wrong
Mhm.
with you? Anyway,
Right.
that's a whole other 10 Oprah shows. So,
Especially the D pics.
mm.
Donna gets a ton of those.
Oh Lord, God bless her.
You didn't remember I just looked somewhere. Oh yeah.
Oh
I know,
man.
but it was still there. That was funny though. But so no questions. I'm always sending deep hit. Oh my God, keys open doors. Any questions from the audience? Okay, I will go back to my Donna. Do you have any questions? Oh, how did it feel open up to Rosen? Donna said, "How did it feel to open up to me today?"
Oh, I really enjoyed it. I really did. Yeah, I think it's fun to, to let people know your story, and maybe it'll be helpful to them. Maybe they'll see something and be like, oh, okay. That'll point them in a right direction. So yeah, that was good.
One of the things that I loved is how open you was about your schooling and being dyslexic and stuff like that, and having to be in like take special ed classes and stuff.
Right, right.
He's on because I too was in special ed. I was bad
Mm.
and stuff. So that's something I'm not afraid to talk about and stuff. But what would you say to some of the people that may be in here that had to go through the same thing? What
Well,
advice?
yeah. So here's a couple things that I would say is number one, that doesn't define you. Number two, everybody has an area where they're not as strong in. It might be math, it might be English. That doesn't define you. Okay. And unfortunately, in our society, in our school, we focus so much on where that person's weakness is. Oh, we got to fix that weakness. We got to fix that weakness rather than focusing on where they're excelling in, because that's what's going to get you through life is where you excel at. And that would be my advice,
But
just to try.
here's what I want to ask you, right? What schools was you in a public school?
Yes, yes.
And where did you what public school were you in when?
I was in a New York public school when they first figured out I had some kind of learning disability. Yeah.
Okay, and even in high school and junior high school, all public.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The reason why I ask that is because, and maybe, I don't think there's that big of a age gap, but even me, like when I was in school, right? They threw you in special ed for like stupid reasons. Like, so was it more so of a learning disability, but it was more so behavior on my part. But my behavior wasn't bad. I wouldn't consider it to be bad, but I got into fights because I was defending people that were being bullied you know
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
but one of the things I noticed while being in there is that it's so hard to learn when you're in there because and then now you're really in a class where there are people that got real disabilities like that like behavior disabilities and stuff and it makes it hard to focus. And one of the things I realized was like
Hmm.
why you're still teaching us the same curriculum, like when are we going to learn the tough things, so it doesn't
Right.
take out of that like algebra was like brand new to me. I'm like, wait, what is this? And
Yeah.
that was one of the things as even me as a kid, and why they was like, wait a minute, this child don't belong here. And it was hard for me because I had to make my dad keep coming up to the school like, there's still I know all my timetables. Why am I still doing multiplication? I'm in the
Right.
sixth grade. Like I know these things already, and that was the only curriculum they was teaching. But that was the reason of why they mainstreamed me. So my dad was like, "Well, stop fighting." So I stopped fighting.
You know what? That's interesting because I hear where you're coming from, and I remember, I don't recall in my special ed classes that there being behavioral kids in there
Right.
along with me. I don't recall that. I just recalled a sense of frustration because I'm not stupid. Yeah, I cannot spell. And yeah, I can't write very well, but I am not stupid. I will smoke you in science. I will smoke you in history and a
Yeah.
lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't like being pigeonholed to be, called stupid because, my spelling was terrible and, my writing skills were terrible. You
Right.
know, I felt like they weren't hearing that. I don't feel like they understood that. Excuse me. They didn't understand that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I just feel like it was like in the school. I grew up in Queens, so in the school system,
Mhm.
I just feel like the system was. You know what I'm saying? And I can
Yeah.
see when I think back now, as of course as a kid, you don't realize it, but I realized it because
Yeah.
I'm like I'm learning the same thing. So now I'm sitting in class not doing nothing because
Yeah.
I know this stuff already. Like
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
when
I
they
can totally see that.
mainstream me, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And for those of you who don't know what mainstream is like when they take you and they put you in a regular ed
Yeah.
class.
Just regular classes. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they gave me, I was mainstream, like I had a math class, I had an English class, and I was excelling in those. And they're like, oh, well, then why is she in here? Then I took a test, I passed the test and everything. And then they, like, by the time I got to the eighth grade, I was already in regular ed.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. And my classes were just English specifically,
Hmm.
so it was just like 1 hour or so out of the day that I was pulled into this, extra class,
Resource.
basically. Kind of. Yeah.
It,
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah. Yeah.
me too. Like, and
Yeah.
I never even really went there because I'm like, it's kind of embarrassing.
Mhm. It's like,
I ain't
don't see
going.
me here. Don't see me here. Nope.
Yeah, right. So I was like, I'm not in that class. But that wasn't a class that gave me credits or anything anyway. So I never went.
Oh,
You
okay.
know,
Yeah.
it was that period where it was like, why am I? And if there's not a reason to it, if it's not gonna benefit me to graduate, then I'm not doing it because it didn't
Yeah.
affect GPA. So I didn't
Yeah.
really,
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
you know. So I really did not go. That was the only class where I did not go to it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
So, but ladies and gentlemen, any other questions? If not, I'm going to let MSN go. Okay, MSN,
Thank
do
you,
you
guys.
think like that you would like to tell us that you didn't get to talk to us about?
No, I mean, I think we covered, a lot of stuff. So, hopefully it was, helpful to somebody and they can, let that sink in, let some of the stuff that we talked about sink in and be helpful for them down the road. So,
Yeah. And you mentioned your streaming, right? You mentioned a show that you do. Can you tell us a little bit more about like when you stream and when can we find you?
yeah, sure. So I stream on both apps, Meet Me and POF, and I do Ask a Nurse Monday, Topic Tuesday. I was just finishing up Do You Know Your Music Wednesday. I'm going to start that back up again in a couple weeks or so. And then I just do regular streaming on Saturdays and Sundays, usually around 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So, there's no more questions. My last question to you, MSN, is what are your plans for the future?
So my plans for the future, it's interesting. Hopefully get retired in a year. That would definitely be doing some more traveling, definitely on the list, you know. Continue to network more, both in person and then through the apps. Make more friends because I felt like I've met and really bonded with a number of people on this app. So I would like to continue to do that, growing on this app and Meet Me. And yeah, so that's pretty much yeah, that's pretty much my goals. Yeah.
Gotcha. What do you think it will take for you to do that?
Well, I think I need to continue to be consistent in my streaming like I have been. Do more random battles.
Hmm.
Continue to do more networking, going into different streams and things like that. So yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. Now, earlier you mentioned that you were supporting someone, but and then you stopped supporting them.
Right.
How do you go about supporting people now? Who are the people where you decide what do the person have to possess or to where you could decide, hey, I like
Yeah.
this person, I want to support them. What is
Well,
it
I
for?
yeah. So right. So I think a couple things. Number one, they do what they say they're going to do. Number two, they're consistent. Number three, they're supportive of me, and therefore I'm supportive of them because there's very few people who have been supportive of me on this app that I am not supportive of them. You know, both being in their streams consistently or gifting, basically. Yeah, it's real simple. I mean, honestly, to me it is.
Right, right.
You know, yeah.
Okay. And who would you say is MSN now? I asked you who was MSN before, but who is MSN now?
Honestly, I think I'm still very similar person to what I was in my 20s, except for the fact that I know more now what I do and do not want.
Hmm.
I definitely have a clear vision of what I would want out of life. Um, I'm definitely more patient, I think.
Hmm.
And, but at the same time, I don't have a lot of tolerance for BS. You know what I mean? Um, you
Period.
know, yeah, yeah. So, right, right. So yeah, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause for MSN. And it was
Thank you,
such
everyone.
interviewing you. Do are you looking to get your royal badge or top badge?
I'm certainly not opposed to it. Before the app split, back. I think I want to say in September I had actually put in for the application, but I probably have to redo it now that, things are completely,
Right.
different.
And
Yeah.
is your original account on POF or Meet Me?
So my account at that time was on POF, and then I
Gotcha.
status matched to Meet Me.
Gotcha.
So,
Thank you so much,
yeah.
MSN.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you for having me.
this
Thank you
was
for
an
everybody listening.
definitely. I look forward to visiting your stream, and I look forward to listen. You got a great personality. When can
Thank
we
you.
get on acting out?
Oh, that would be fun. That'd be fun.
Yeah, we got to
Yeah,
get
you
acting
yeah,
out.
you give me some dates and times and we'll see, what we can't work out something.
All right, let's go, y'all.
Yeah.
Give it up for MSN, y'all.
Yay.
So much, MSN.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to exclusive interview. If you're just walking in, we just finished the exclusive interview with MSN. If you have any gifts or love to send, please send it her way right now.
Thank you,
Okay,
everyone.
at Aqua, okay, VIP Aqua, and now we have VIP MSN. Please make sure you favorite both of those lovely women, okay? And please
Thank
go
you,
and check
guys.
them out. I know I will. You should too. Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, MSN.
Thank you.
And let's close out with one of the greatest songs. Yeah. Thank you. Bye, MSN. Fresh off the clock. Hey. You know the smoke. Roll. She get a bag, she get a bag, we get a bundle. We got hella smoke on deck, that's on the humble. Thursday night, 10 p.m. Yeah, we be acting out. Then you say it with your chest. Come and get some clout. We never done though. Oh, we gon' keep it 100. Like where did the sun go? Like we in a run though. They wanna know who we are. They wanna know. They wanna know. Yo, Bessie, I look better in the hat. Joe Best, Donna said she looked better than that. Joe Best, you heard Donna? She said she looked better in the hat. Show her again. Real one know what's up. It's time to get role model fresh. 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 We the models. You know the vibes. Pushing on that beat. Positivity. Pull up on that scene. I just wanna live my dream. Gotta make this green. Moving on some green. Model gang big team. Big homie of the street shit. She not conceited but a little bit. Despite all the hate, never giving up. Without a role model who's showing us. Without a role model who acting out. Thanking you for the love you're giving out. Big M's in the comments. Fuck what them haters be talking about. Pay homage to a real one. Them haters don't like you, they still come. They getting so mad, we dropping the bags. Saying the bags look real dumb. We doing it big, never less. We doing it big, never stress. We doing it big. We the model, 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 up in the place. We the models, we in the states. We the models, second to none. We the models, 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 we the models. We number one and we not running up. No, we not having these fucking bust. Haters be lame, fucking these studs. Real one know what's up. Trying to get role model fresh. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to exclusive interview. I see someone in a box. What's up? How can I help you, sir?